Seguimos en el Mobile World Congress, es el cuarto día y si detectan en nuestra voz y nuestra cara un agotamiento crónico es porque realmente estamos destruidos. Calculo que a medida que avanza el día y si alguien me trae un Red Bull, igual me recupero. Bueno, tenemos con nosotros a Júlio Puschel, que es analista senior de lo que estaría encargado de la parte móvil o de operadores móviles del grupo Informa. Welcome to Telesemana.
Thank you, Rafael.
I was just telling our audience that we are totally destroyed, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been a busy show this year. I think the perception was very good presentations, topics, and discussions during the event.
Okay, so give us an idea of what you've seen. What have been the three main topics of discussion that you are taking back home?
Yeah, one of the things we are writing about yesterday, it was that the sun, compared to last year, the sun was back to Barcelona.
Okay.
But I would say that the last year's rains was still echoing at the Fira this year. We haven't seen some improvements in the operators and vendors' speeds, but some of the issues are still the same. So the applications, how operators will play in this in their mobile applications world,
So hold on, when you said how would they get involved as a players, you mean that they don't know still how they would be? They haven't figured that out?
Yeah, well, I think they lost a little bit. They are not lost, but they are a little bit delayed of the application strain. As you have Android, Apple, BlackBerry, and even Ovi starting to generate significant revenue out of that, and the operators are being just the transport. So I think that a WAC initiative was announced last year, for example, but and they highlighted the commitment this year, but we haven't seen any active strategy or effort or any real life kind of deployment on the WAC.
Right.
And another thing, I think the announcement from Nokia and Microsoft on Friday, I think, dominate all the discussions during the event.
What do you think about that announcement? Because we have a very clear take on that, but we want to know yours.
Yeah,
I'll let you know mine later.
Okay. Our take on that is that I think it was definitely a significant, important move for Nokia.
Okay.
I think Microsoft was obvious options for Nokia, and that will depend on how the strategy will go from now. I think it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to Nokia to get back its position into the handset world and increase into the its smartphone penetration. So we believe there's still potential for this partnership. Even for Microsoft, more for Microsoft to gain scale for Nokia. But one interesting thing, it's a lot of the discussions on the handset side was based on the OS. OS definitely is an important aspect into the handset, but it's not the only thing. Of course, if we see today's phones available in any of the handset manufacturers' booths, you're going to see they look like the same. They are a black screen, and so the OS will be the difference. Yeah. But one thing we cannot forget in the iPhone, one of the key things on the consumer decision is not on the touch screen, but on the back of the phone.
The back of the phone?
The back of the phone, that is the Apple brands. So there's another thing, the other aspects that are important, and I think that Nokia could leverage
the Windows brand?
Not the Windows brand, but I think the Nokia brand as a hardware manufacturer could leverage a little bit more this partnership. And if you see anyone trying the device, it's not only looking at the OS, but everyone is really touching, seeing the design and how it fits on hand. So I think there's another aspect beyond the OS that that the consumer takes into consideration when adopting a new phone.
For what you're saying, Nokia has been doing a couple of things badly lately then. It has been doing badly the fact that they have not been able to get an OS ready. They've been trying to figure out what to do with Symbian. Now it's an open source. Now we get control again. Now we go with Windows, with totally can. You said important. I wasn't sure when you said important that meant that was positive or negative, or that we don't know yet. And now you're saying that also there are other factors that could be improved on the Nokia side, which means that Nokia has also been making some sort of a mistake by not promoting a brand that was very solid. And I think if we look at surveys from 3-4 years ago, Nokia probably was the second or third brand worldwide in terms of recognition. So, you know, now you're bringing a different scenario. It's not just that Nokia has been lacking the OS, but they've been lacking in doing what they were doing best before they started losing ground.
Yeah,
so that's even, you know, that's more worrisome to me because I didn't consider those factors.
Yeah, and I think they lose a little bit of brand awareness in the last few years, but I think they still have. It's like not building a brand from scratch. So
they still have the
they still have a chance to leverage that. But it's when we talk on an application, it's a different platform. Of course, for the operators, their opinion is very positive about that because it's another option, leverage their brand power over the different platforms. But
remember this, and this is something we said, they were complaining a few years back, and they still are complaining of fragmentation. So they were complaining fragmentation, now they want more OSs, so they have different alternatives, you know. Which one is it?
I think it's a new market. I think the business model is changing, and I think that all the players in the business change. They are having to adapt very fastly to that, and the operator is breaking very hard paradigms, and that depends, for example, on the WAC initiative. I think it's important if you have a platform that go across all different OS, because this is more democratic to the user. So you don't need to have an iPhone to have access to the specific applications, but you can have it everywhere. And I think Qualcomm couple of years ago has announced the Plaza mobile platform with
which we haven't seen much of it yet.
Well, they have a interesting case with American Mobile. They launched last year. I think this is it was one of the first initiatives in this field. Maybe there's some challenge to develop this. It's a new market, but I think I see it as a positive way to balance a little bit more the application business change. And I think operators has really an important role in this change. Maybe it would be different from what their role during the WAP. Where they have like holding 80 to 90% of the revenue and dominate the business change. They probably, they maybe not be the leader on the business change, but they will have an important role.
Okay. Now tell me how come, and this is just kind of for history and not really to solve any issues today because this is past, but how come they were, as you said, dominating the WAP scene? Not that the WAP scene was neither a huge business case for them, but okay, they were dominating that, and it seemed that the natural step was that if there was something more advanced, they would obviously just move that step further very quickly and just dominate it. That it was kind of you couldn't think that somebody else from the outside could just gain that access so quickly. So tell us what do you think has happened in 5 years, where operators were dominating the web scene, and suddenly they are not even almost present on the application side.
Yeah, I think there's we need to take into consideration the user and consumer perspective in that, and the WAP was a very walled garden business model, and what Apple was very disruptive. They create a very motivating environment for developers and a very user-friendly interface. And I think this was part of were key things, a part of success of Apple in this scenario. They were offering, while operators were charging content developers or applications developers just sharing 10% of the total revenue, 10-20%. Apple was sharing 80%. So
more the iMode kind of
yes, exactly. And yesterday, Telefonica has made an announcement on this field. It's too early to say how successful they will be.
With WSA? Or with what?
With the applications, because what Telefonica is driving, trying to attract more developers on success fee kind of business model. So
Okay.
they are actually paying developers to position specific applications into their subscription base. So what they're saying is all the revenue share from the additional SMS generated by a specific applications, they will share with the developers.
That's interesting.
So I think the operators are trying to adapt themselves to the business model. It's too early to say that if the Telefonica model will be the best one, but I think it's an innovation in this field, and I think the market is missing some innovation from operators. So I think it's positive, this kind of movement in parallel with the other strategies the operators are taking as well.
Okay. So we go from one of the topics you said were handsets and Nokia and Microsoft. That was one of the main issues. Is there any other issue? I mean, we said I asked you for 3. Let's go for 2. What would be the second major issue?
Well, I think I had a very good conversations about offloading.
Okay.
So last year we heard a lot about data traffic, network capacity crunch. This year I think...
Data tsunami.
Yes, exactly. This year I think the operator's speech was very similar, but what caught my attention was China Unicom, or China Mobile CEO saying that they are investing in 1 million Wi-Fi hotspots in China in 3 years. So I think the Wi-Fi has gained a lot of importance this year, and they are really being positioned as a very good alternative for data offloading. Yeah. So if you look at most of the Wi-Fi hotspot vendors like Ubiquitys, Wilcos, they are not building small microcells hotspots, but they are really focused outdoor. And I see operators. If we see the case of O2 in UK, Wi-Fi, AT&T as well. So it's part of the network strategy, and I think this is a very important aspect into the network, and it will smooth the migration into LTE, and will definitely enhance the customer experience with data service. So I think it was some positive discussions in this field.
Then, if we need to talk about Wi-Fi, probably we could place in the same pot the femto discussion, because it's also a component that help alleviate some of the congestion problems that the macrocells are suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the femtocell has the potential to be also an alternative for offloading, but I think now femtocell is being more positioned to address coverage problems. Yeah. And Wi-Fi, it's more currently the alternative to offloading. And one interesting thing is to hear some femtocell vendors and even the femtocell forum starting to show on their booth some hybrid solutions mixing Wi-Fi and femtocell.
True.
So I think femtocell is being already adopted by many operators, but more focused on the coverage.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, just to finalize, and we can do some history again, that back in probably was 2002, 3 or 4, around those years, there was a consultancy group, I think it was Nomura, that they released a study in Germany saying for the cost of what they've paid for the 3G licenses, they could have blanket all Germany with Wi-Fi hotspots with enough distance between each hotspot to have everything covered with access. And at that time it sounded like a crazy idea. You said, okay, it could be done, but this is not the way to build a network or a macro network. But now if we see the trend of combining like what it would be small cells, Wi-Fi, medium like with pico cells, and then macro cells. And if you've seen the announcement from Alcatel-Lucent, the light radio device, then now if we go back in time, now we see that they went to the extreme, but it was close enough.
If we go back in time, we're going to see operators blocking Wi-Fi device in their source.
True.
And so I think it's it's breaking paradigms, and Wi-Fi, it's a evolved technology. It's in the market for a while, but even the vendors are migrating into into the operator's network strategy, because some of the key Wi-Fi vendors were more focused on in-home coverage, access, and also helping cable operators to avoid passing cables through the entire house, so you can share all the internet connections through Wi-Fi. So they are migrating from this in-house environment into really being an option for operators network strategy.
Yeah, actually, just to find out also, there was a manufacturer, not here, but in either CTI last year or Futurecom in Brazil, in your country. And he said that in the past, networks were built from the outside to the inside, and now we're going to see a trend where networks are going to be built from the inside to the outside. I don't know if you think that's kind of what we'll say.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of initiatives from providing these in-house access points to people accessing outdoor. Or sharing this connectivity with others. I think the important thing is not if it's indoor or outdoor, but it's how this network is managed. So that's why I think some operators are starting to acquire Wi-Fi companies or starting to build their own Wi-Fi network, because they want to it's not only about control of the subscriptions, but have the way to control the customer experience. So they make sure they are able to provide a good level of service independent of which kind of access the user will use.
True. All right, well, Julio, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm going to let you go, and if you can't, try to rest.
Yeah,
my back is killing me and my feet is killing me too. So
thank you for the opportunity. It was a delight to talk to you. Thank you.
Take care.